everyone, and welcome to another episode of Golden's Guide. I'm so excited today. I have a friend and colleague here that I can't wait for you to meet. I have known Betsy for years. She is a staple in Greenville. Everybody in Greenville knows her. I have been wanting her on the show forever, so it's finally happening today. But before I introduce her, let me tell you a little bit about her. Betsy Exton is the owner and executive officer of Pure on Main, which is a complete and total health foods. It's more than health food. I mean, she has a master's in education and health. So there's everything there from massage to colonics to herbology. I'll let her tell you more, but everyone in Greenville practically, and you probably already know her, goes to her shop or calls her or her staff when they're in need of some sort of health answers. So let me tell you a little bit about her. She's been helping people there over 2 decades. And even before that, she moved here from New York and she trained in a lot of fields, but really gravitated to the natural health, which is, as y'all all know, it's a gazillion-dollar business now. I mean, people are really waking up and looking at, we just can't take prescriptions all the time. We really have to look deeper at what the root is, not just taking another pill. You've heard my journey this year, so you know how I feel about that. She really got into this field because of her own struggles and frustration. She ventured into the world of cleansing, detoxing using plants and herbs along with medication and exercise. She left the Carolinas, y'all, and went to Puerto Rico and trained there with some amazing people. Now, that's what I love to hear. It's like when you're getting training from people who have studied this for generations, and they've got that generational healing. And Betsy just kind of has that in her naturally. She trained with some of the most incredible cleansing gurus in her field and ended up focusing her training on colon hydrotherapy, which don't run because I know a lot of people are scared of that, but we're going to talk about that today, but that's not all we're talking about. And really what we're talking about today is why detox and cleanse is important and how I don't know that there's enough emphasis on that. So I could say a whole lot more, but just let me introduce my friend, Betsy Exton. Welcome.
Thank you.
So glad to have you here.
I'm excited to be here.
And I mean, I feel like even though I've been dying to have you on, I feel like this is the perfect time. We've kind of settled into this, well, I don't want to even say new normal, but we've settled into the situation around lockdown and COVID and all that. And I do think, and do you think people are really looking more at their bodies now?
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. That's the one good thing I could say came out of all this is that people are now wanting to take a little bit more ownership over their health, their wellness, their happiness, their bodies, their strengths, their weaknesses, and what they can do to kind of obtain more of an optimum wellness.
Right.
I think some people were just okay being okay. And now they're like, wait a minute, if something else comes around or if something attacks my body, I need to be able to fight it. So I need to be stronger than I was.
Yeah.
So we are definitely getting more calls. Like you said, obviously I had Pure on Main for a while and I've traveled all over and worked in different locations, and we opened another one in Greer now at the Pure Wellness Spa. And we're getting a lot more calls that are like, okay, what do I need vitamin D for? And what's the importance of, eating a certain kind of food or whatever? So I am definitely grateful to see this increased interest in people taking ownership over their own wellness journey.
Right. And I would imagine too, a lot of that, I mean, when people were, whether they had COVID or trying to keep from getting the virus, I guess, or if they got it, how to get past it quicker, we're looking at vitamins and other ways because there may be something now. I don't know. I actually never had it, knock on wood. But, there are ways that we can deal with it if we get it. I mean, there are supplements and things we can do to help move it along. Is that correct?
Yeah, with most virus, disease, illness, I mean, disease is just dis-ease, right? So it's just not being at ease. So there's something attacking something, whether it's bacteria, fungus, virus, parasite, pathogen. With any of those things, if your body's in the best state it can be, then your natural immune system is more than likely to step in and start fighting these things for you. So, we certainly can't claim that one vitamin or another is going to kill a virus or bacteria.
Because everybody's different.
Everybody's different, absolutely. But if we can get our homeostasis in the best possible position for this, you certainly can have, maybe less symptoms or a faster recovery rate.
Right.
We've had amazing testimonials where we've, brought certain vitamin kits. At one point there was the COVID kit or whatever. But we, distributed them, free shipping, curbside pickup, blah, blah, blah. And we did receive a lot of testimony that their sense of taste and smell came back within 2 to 3 days, or, somebody's fever went away. So we definitely experienced a lot of really good stories when people were able to boost their own immune system.
Yeah. Well, that's the bottom line, isn't it? I mean, it's about keeping your immune system as good as it can be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And which, that's why, when you and I spoke before, I was like, everybody's thinking about what they're putting in, right? Did I take my vitamin D? Did I take my B12? Should I be taking quercetin? What's this new thing with NAC? Or I better eat broccoli, and they're calling for more blackberries. So everyone's starting to put in the good, but I always recommend you got to do the other part of the formula, which is the bad out.
I love that you're saying this, because I don't think most people think about that. I think most people think, okay, I'm taking my vitamins, my supplements, I'm doing yoga or whatever, but I don't think people are really thinking about how much we need for it to come in and go out.
Absolutely.
Because probably most of us already have, unless we've been really aware of taking care of ourselves, we probably already have some clogged systems.
Oh my goodness, yes.
And not just the colon, right?
Not just the colon. No, it could be your lymphatic system. It could be your nerve systems, your blood, obviously your colon, your sinus cavities. I mean, you name it. But we do have 7 channels of elimination. So I do focus on all of them. I specialize in a couple more than others, but your skin is your biggest eliminating organ.
Right.
So even sweating, going to the gym, detox that way. A lot of people did get out and start walking. A lot of people increased their exercise.
Right.
And I think people started to see results, like all of a sudden their energy went up.
Yeah.
All of a sudden their thoughts were more clear. It's like, well, all of a sudden they were detoxing and cleansing without even knowing it.
Right.
Yeah. But the skin is great. And movement in general. Like the worst thing people want to do is be stagnant.
Yeah.
I always tell people you never want to just sit still, because that's when things aren't moving. That's when things get stuck and stagnant. And like you said, build up a plaque, build up a sludge. Obviously with the colonics, which of course is my favorite.
Well, I do want to get to that, because I got to get over my fear, Betsy.
You do.
I got to get in there.
You really do. You really do.
I've done everything else, but I haven't made it to that yet. So don't worry, everybody. We'll get there and we'll talk about that. But yeah, I think this is a topic that, everybody talks about, the right kind of vitamin or the right kind of supplement, but nobody talks really about detoxing. Now, before we get deep into detoxing, I want to mention there are a lot of people that are, back in the day, 20 years ago, I remember trying to detox.
Oh, yeah. And,
at the time I was working, in corporate, I couldn't do it.
Right.
I had to run to the bathroom every 5 minutes.
Absolutely.
Right? So for people who, because I know some detoxes are heavier than others, and that will happen. There is a clean out.
Oh, for sure.
But for people who are not in a position to maybe they're not ready for a colonic yet, or maybe a heavy cleanse, they're worried about that like me. What would you suggest?
Oh my gosh, yeah. And that is a concern, especially for a lot of people that are super busy. They're like, I don't have time to run the toilet. I don't have time to not feel well. I don't have time for a headache. And some of these things can happen when you detox. I always say you can go gentle. And, you don't want to start with A, B, C and then jump to level L.
Right.
You got to start where you're at.
Mm-hmm.
Meet someone where they're at. So if somebody is doing Diet Coke all day and eating fried foods and going to fast food for breakfast every morning, I'm not going to automatically put them on a huge liver detox and start giving them colon cleanses. You've got to meet the person where they're at.
Well, and let me just jump in for a second because there can be a healing crisis.
Oh,
correct?
For sure. Oh, absolutely.
I mean, people can get sick if it's not done properly, which is why I want people to call and talk to you and your team because, we've all gone into a health food store and just read something. Oh, well, I think I'm going to cleanse my colon or detox and it turns out terrible because there's no education or support, right?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And honestly, I try to scream that from the mountaintops because it is so important where you're getting your resources, whether it's your information, whether it's your detox cleanses, whether it's your products or your experiences. We have 16 experts in the field that work for me. I have a master herbalist. I have a naturopathic doctor. I have some of the best massage therapists in town.
Yes.
Yeah, I really do. I'm super grateful. But we do have a team and they work together to help every individual. And the one thing I tell people is is we're going to lift people up. We're going to help share the information that we have. We're going to spread education, experience, expertise. We hand select every single thing we put on the shelves. One of my favorite products, and we'll talk a little bit, but I won't go into too much detail, but this company, Global Healing, they do not radiate their vitamins at the end. A lot of people in the production line, they get these vitamins and blah, 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 and maybe they're organic and they're sourced from a good place, but then they irradiated when they go through the end of the production line. Mm-hmm. So I'm very particular. We literally research every day. What's the best? What's the latest? What's the greatest?
Well, and if I can say too, because I've worked with Betsy before, I know that because she has so many people and specialists working for her, I mean, there could be 500 different products that you could choose from.
Correct.
You really go after and research the ones that really work.
Exactly. We are
and
results
are clean
driven.
And have the right ingredients and everything.
Absolutely.
So
we do try to take the guesswork out because I myself have gone in places and I'm like, oh God, there's 37 options.
Yes.
This isn't my expertise. How do I know which one to select?
Well, and what I worry about is there's so many people, and I'm glad that those stores are around, but there's so many people going in and, asking advice.
From someone who has no idea.
Right. I mean, they're salespeople,
Yeah.
I'm sure they've been given some instruction about some, maybe basic things. But that worries me a little bit for those of us who are not educated and depend on a salesperson to suggest, because this is potent.
Well, exactly. And it's your health.
Right.
Without your health, you have nothing.
Right.
I don't care what kind of car you drive.
And the other thing is, they don't even know what medications you may be on.
Right. Oh, yeah. And how things are contraindicated.
Yes.
It is definitely something to take serious. And that's why some people come in and they'll be like, oh, I bought this on Amazon, or, oh, I found this at the gas station, sold me the CBD, so it doesn't work. I'm like, you don't know if CBD works because you just bought something that I have no idea what's in there. And if you buy it off from something big box thing, no one knows who might have put those pills in the bottle in the basement.
Mm-hmm.
I know my reps. I know where I get my information. Tonight, for a matter of fact, we got 16 people. My whole team is meeting with one of our vendor reps so she can go through exactly what's in certain products that we carry.
Wow.
Literally, we're all going to be, I'm not going to tell you where, but we're all going to be tonight having dinner and speaking with the rep that does this to talk about what's exactly in this product, where it came from.
I just love this, and I love your passion for it. And if y'all are looking at, supplements or detox or really need anything, everybody in my family calls Betsy if we have a cold or a sniffle or a this or a that. I even called her this weekend. My cholesterol's high. I don't want to take, those heavy duty drugs. I'd like to see if there's another way, for me to deal. So I love that you are so serious about this. And now that we're at this place, where did this passion come from?
Gosh, right? Yeah.
Because you are, and you know what? You've never let up. I've known you for years.
Thanks. Yeah.
And every time we talk about this subject and the body and health, you are as passionate as you were, years ago.
Thank you. Yeah, it is definitely something that is within me because it wasn't my plan. My bachelor's degree is psychology. My master's degree is education. I taught 8th grade. I was a counselor for adolescents that were abused. But I was given a really challenging digestive system as well as what was connected to it, which was depression and anxiety. So growing up, I never really went to the bathroom. Other people did. I went once a month. Maybe I could eat Thanksgiving dinner, and by Christmas, I still had not gone to the bathroom.
Wow.
And what that does to somebody that's so full of toxins is it affects your brain.
Yes.
So I was diagnosed with clinical depression, anxiety disorder, panic attacks. There was a part where I was almost agoraphobic and couldn't leave my parents' house. So which I had to learn what I needed to do because I wasn't getting any answers. I've been through all sorts of specialists and studies and oh my gosh, the things that they put me through were ridiculous. But I had to learn what's my deal? What am I doing? And as a people pleaser, as an empath, I knew part of that was me and I needed to change some things.
Oh my gosh, listen up. Empaths, people pleasers.
Yeah. You're gonna be, it's tough.
And I think there is a certain type of person that will take on, absorb it, right?
Yes.
Not just,
physically,
our own stuff,
mentally, emotionally.
but everybody's stuff. Yeah. So, that's a whole new conversation right there about detoxing emotions. But yeah, back to your passion. I'm just fascinated by it.
Well, thank you. And part of it is the emotional piece. Like when I started doing colon hydrotherapy, what I realized when I was doing it for other people, I started doing cleanses for people and I'm cleaning their colon, right? So I'm a colon hydrotherapist. Well, the reality is as I'm cleaning toxins out, they're emotionally letting things go. And that's when I realized.
I love this. Okay, let's go a little deeper on this.
Seriously. Yeah.
So are you saying something or you just know this or do you encourage them to think about things before they come in? Or how do you tie in the mind body?
It happens.
It just
automatically.
Happens?
Oh my gosh. Yes. And that's why I've said to people, when you need to get better, feel better, you could go at it many ways. You could do physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual help. So if you want to lay down and speak with a therapist and start mentally, emotionally processing things, you can. But you can also start spiritually. You can go to that place where you start praying and you work on things that way. You can also go physically. And when you start moving poison from the body, you're automatically going to start let going of things. I've had people cry. I've had people break down. I've had people tell me about their childhood experiences. I've had people tell me about their rape and their horrible husband, their bad job.
So when things are physically moving from the body, it can cause, memories, I guess.
Mental, emotional energy sits in the body. So when we release some toxins.
I just really hadn't thought about that, Betsy.
Oh, it's incredible. Yeah, because everything's neither created nor destroyed. So if we start moving some old stuff that's been in there for 20 years, it's got old memories.
Well, as somebody who sits at this desk and, my audience knows it, I talk about emotions every week and how we need to take care of our emotions. But when you think about, really adding the body into support, releasing everything.
Right.
That's huge.
It's huge. That's why, when you were doing the foot detoxes, in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that they're in here doing the foot detoxes because even that, it pulls out heavy metals, it could pull out pathogens, blah, blah, blah. But it's a release.
It is a release.
Don't you feel uplifted?
Oh my gosh. Okay, everybody, I do have to tell you this. Even though I haven't graduated to the
colonics, you'll get
colonics.
You'll get that.
The foot detoxes. Okay, I just cannot say enough about this. It's not just sitting there and putting your feet in a solution and things really are coming out of the body. Mm-hmm. It's gentle, it's easy. Julia, the therapist, is like an angel. It's an experience. It's a full-on experience. And I've cried during that.
Exactly. You're releasing.
I just remembered that.
See? That's what happens when you do self-care and you self-love and you're pulling out poison. You're putting in the good, you're taking out the bad. You're putting in the good, you're taking out the bad. Your body's going to go to the next elevation. And that means releasing old stuff.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Golly. I mean, now all this is just clicking. Okay, I'm going to have to think about that sooner.
Yeah.
Colonics.
Like I said, I've been doing it for 23 years, 50,000 people.
50,000 people?
Okay,
and also I have to mention, talking about what an amazing practitioner she is and her experience. She travels with Tony Robbins. So will you talk a little bit about that? I mean, if Tony Robbins wants he and his staff to do colonics and take care of themselves when they're trying to take care of other people.
That's right.
Right?
Absolutely.
That's huge.
Oh, it's huge. Yeah.
So what was that like?
Oh my gosh. It was so incredible. I'm no longer doing it right now with COVID and stuff. We had to stop doing in-person venues, and he started doing, kind of online stuff. But I did travel with Tony Robbins and the Robbins Research Institute for 8 or 9 years.
Wow.
Yeah, we worked in Africa and Spain and France and the Netherlands. And I mean, I was so honored. At one point, I was the only one from the US traveling with the team. And I mean, there'd be thousands and thousands of people, and we would set up 15 colon hydrotherapy rooms. Literally.
Oh my gosh.
Was such a believer in it. He's like, look, I'm going to give you inspiration. I'm going to give you resources. I'm going to give you education. I'm going to give you like financial freedom. But you can't absorb all this good if you still got all that bad. So he was an enormous
That is a big quotable
supporter.
Right there.
Yeah.
Okay, people, we can't absorb all the good that's right there for us if we're just still full of crap.
That's literally it.
Whether it's mentally, emotionally, spiritually,
physically. You got to cleanse it out.
Clean it out, yeah.
Oh, it was an amazing opportunity just to see how much people can change. So for
that's got to be so inspiring.
That's the thing. It's like, it's the most rewarding job. And everyone's like, you do what? And I'm like, well, and for me, it's not really a job. It's a passion. It is not a job.
I know it's a passion.
But yeah, when I get to see everybody uplifted after their experience, it is so rewarding. I mean, some things don't have that immediate gratification. Sometimes I could do, whether it's acupuncture or chiropractor, and I'm a little bit better, and whatever, I keep getting better. But with the colonics, it's like this immediate, like, whoa, I feel like I could see better. I could hear better. As a matter of fact, I've had people call me and say, is it normal to feel happier? I'm like, well, yes. All your serotonin's produced in your gut. So if you get the gut cleaned out, everything gets better.
Well, and everybody now for the last few years has been talking about the brain in your gut.
Exactly.
What do you say about the brain?
Exactly. I mean, they're connected. They're 100% connected. If you get the gut cleaned out, you're going to be clear. You're going to have more focus.
So I would imagine if you get the gut cleaned out, it's not just removing stuff out of your stomach. I'm guessing then your liver works better and your gallbladder. I mean, everybody I know has got gallbladder stuff going on right now.
Oh, God, yeah.
And I guess that's because we're all just stopped up and eating, or maybe we're eating better now, but over the years we've eaten crap. So that can take a long time to get out of the system slowly.
Absolutely. Slow and steady wins the race. And it's not just cleansing. It's all about the microbiome too. It's about the right gut formula. So you got to also, and that's why I brought a couple good things over here, because it's really, like I said, it's good in, bad out, good in, bad out. So you might have to add the probiotics, clean the flora in there, because there's so much food out there that's, I don't even really want to call it food. It's stuff that people put in their mouth that's like 1 molecule away from plastic.
Yeah.
It's not nutrient. So we're eating this stuff. It's not food. It's not really nutritional. And when you put all that poison in your body doesn't even really know how to assimilate it. So it swells up. You get sinus infections. You get drowsy. I mean, the amount of things that happen, obviously, inflammation, pain, whatever, all sorts of things happen when we put a bunch of poison in the body. So it's kind of finding that, cleansing stasis, that homeostasis that really helps people kind of, find optimal.
Well, I have a thyroid issues, Hashimoto's, which, millions of people do now. And I know so many people have, the autoimmune stuff. And, what little bit of research I've done, it's almost all in the gut. It's almost every autoimmune issue came somehow from
the gut. Yeah.
I mean, do you agree with that?
Well, I wouldn't say it all comes from the gut, but I could say a lot of it can be helped through cleaning the gut.
Okay.
I actually have Lyme's disease. So, or let's say I was at one point diagnosed with it. I really don't identify with it. But at one point they did see that I had Lyme. So of course that may have come from a tick or a mosquito or whatever. But I was very sick and, the body was just fighting itself. And that's when I got the far infrared sauna, because that's when I was like, okay, all of my organs need cleansing and detoxing, obviously the skin. But like you said, with the gallbladder and the liver, it's kind of like there is a process to which we recommend people cleansing. Like the last thing you want to do is like a liver gallbladder flush if you haven't already cleansed the colon, because you don't want to dump a toxic liver into a toxic colon.
Okay, so people, this is like, I feel like screaming it from the rooftops because I'm just an educator that you really need someone to help you navigate this.
Agreed. You need a professional.
You need a
because otherwise you could end up honestly pretty sick.
Yeah.
You can't clean your kidneys and bladders if you haven't done the liver gallbladder
Well,
first.
and that makes so much sense.
Yeah, I know. So you got to do it in the right formula.
Yeah.
So, but that's why we try to tell people, even the smallest things, even chewing your food is a detox. Like chewing breaks your things down, breaks your foods down, your amylase, your lipase, your protease, all those enzymes break things down so the rest of your body doesn't have to do so much work.
Right.
So one of the first things I tell people is chew your food, eat slower, slow down.
Yeah.
Chew.
Because most of us now are, well, let's face it, we're in a hurry to do anything.
We are. We're like rats in a cage.
And fast food is, more than ever, right? It's fast. And it's, but yeah, I get that even when I've changed my diet at certain times and changed it in an extreme way, and I say extreme, I mean like, I'm still fighting a sugarholic thing, but when I have really cleaned my diet up, there's been, it's almost immediate. It's not like you have to wait 6 months to feel better.
Oh gosh, no. Even, skipping some fried foods for 3 days, people will notice a difference.
Yeah.
And getting off from too much of the sticky, gooey stuff, I'm not a huge fan of dairy. If people do support it, that's okay. But for me, cow's breast milk is meant for a calf. So it allows a calf.
What about butter? Because I love butter.
Well, some people find some benefits in it when, there's been some studies.
Like ghee
or
whatever.
Exactly.
Is that?
If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do vegan ghee.
Vegan ghee?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. For me, personally.
Does it taste the same?
Oh, yeah. I love the taste.
Really?
It's just like switching like almond milk in my coffee.
Oh, well, see, yeah. I switched to almond milk years ago.
Yeah.
I think everybody has been okay in moving in that direction.
I think so.
That, we're all waking up, and you're right. It is the more that the crap is removed from our mind and our body, then we can elevate, and then we can make better choices. Then we will make better choices.
We will, absolutely.
Rather than just, I'm just going to shove this,
thing down my throat.
I wanted to talk about too, because I know, with so many people right now, obviously anxiety is at all-time high for everybody on the planet, because it's not just what we're feeling the collective.
Oh God, 100%.
And, I don't want to get political here, but there's been a lot of fear pushed on us. And so when somebody comes to you and says, I have anxiety, or my teenager is, having panic attacks or something, how do you handle that? Because, they might not be able to come in and start the complete process of cleansing. Of
course. Yeah, absolutely. But it's so interesting you brought that up, because there was one other product I was going to bring, and I was like, it doesn't really have to pertain to detoxing, so I won't. But anxiety and stress is like absolutely through the roof right now. And as far as I'm concerned, stress is the number one killer in the world. So, and you're right. I'm getting parents telling me that kids can't handle life right now.
Yeah.
Because look what they did to their schools. The story I've had about the fear situation, but they didn't like that I wasn't in enough fear at some places in my life. But that's a huge thing. So there is a plethora of options. And I could obviously touch on some of them, but like ashwagandha is a root. And ashwagandha is very gentle. And you could take ashwagandha in a pill form. You could take it in a liquid form. You could take it in chewable. I sell it in all three. But ashwagandha just kind of helps, it's a adaptogen. So it allows you to adapt better to whatever it is. So if you're going through a stressful day, what I used to do is put ashwagandha in my water bottle and just drink on it, just sip it throughout the day. And it just kind of takes the tip off the iceberg.
Right.
So everything's just a little bit more manageable. Everything's a little bit more tolerant. Another one that I love for people that are getting the excessive thoughts, like I should have,
like the loop. You know, you just think, and
I call it the monkey brain. It's like I should have, I could have, I would have, I'm supposed to. What's going to happen then, and what's going to happen next? And obviously, let's face it, the world's kind of in a mess. So the one I like to take is called Skull Cap.
I've heard of that before.
I love Skull Cap. It's called Skull Cap because it's literally capping the skull. It's kind of saying, let's take a second to not go that far and just kind of focus and sit. And what's cool about herbs is a lot of them grow where nature makes sense. So Skull Cap grows next to bustling rivers. So here you got a river that's crazy and bustling, and then Skull Cap goes, just calm down.
Wow.
That's how nature works.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Skull Cap's great, ashwagandha. And for children, we also do holy basil. There's a lot of natural options. So when people are like, oh God, gotta hurry up and get a Xanax, or I gotta hurry up and get on some kind of med, I would suggest that you try some natural stuff first.
Yeah, I love that. Because as somebody who had, as you know, I had a heart attack. I like to call it my heart awakening, as the audience knows. Oh. But, I'm realizing now that, those meds stay in the body until there's probably a big cleanup. I haven't done a big cleanup.
Right.
I mean, I think I've been working on my mental and my emotional.
Which is great.
And yes, I've been exercising, but I don't think, I was on some heavy duty meds like a lot of people are.
Oh my gosh.
So anybody who's been through surgery or have had to take any amounts of
pain meds,
anything. I mean, how long do you think they stay in our systems? I know it's different for everybody.
It is definitely different for everybody. And the way they react to the body is different for everybody. Some people can break them down and kind of move them out a little bit faster, but other people, they do linger.
Well, especially if your liver's clogged.
Well, that's what I was going to say. And it does slow down the body's natural progression to eliminate.
Right.
So I've found that people are coming to me for Colonic Therapy because everything's slowed down after their surgery.
Right.
Or after whatever they went through, or whatever drugs, and statins, like these days, everybody's on a statin. And if you're on a statin, it depletes your body of CoQ10. So your energy levels are going to come down immediately. Mm-hmm. And so that's the kind of thing that we do want to do some flushes and some cleanses, even something gentle like a Tao He cleanse. That's one of my favorites. Tao He is it's a 2-week long herbal cleanse, but for people that need it gentle, I tell them to spread it out for a month. And instead of taking 3 twice a day, you take 1 pill twice a day, whatever.
Yeah.
So you could always take a cleanse and make it slower or easier if you need to.
Right.
But for people that have been, on a lot of meds and stuff like that, I think it is important to slowly start detoxing that stuff out, especially if they're deciding to get off of
Right.
them. Yeah.
Well, and y'all know I'm transparent on here, and I'm not afraid to tell the truth about anything.
Yay! I love the truth.
I have been pushing back for a couple years now on cholesterol medicine. And, of course, the doctors might say that that's why I had the heart issue, but it wasn't, because I didn't have a blockage. Mine was pure stress.
Wow.
I don't know if you've ever heard of Takotsubo, which is broken heart syndrome.
Oh, yeah.
It's the heart has it's like a heart attack, only there's no blockage.
Wow.
It's when you're so stressed that all of the bad hormones hit the heart at one time and it
breaks.
Yes.
Wow.
Just like a heart attack. But anyway, what I'm saying is I'm still, this last round, I went last week and, they did blood work and they're just raising Cain with me about, and I had tried a long time ago to take something for cholesterol. I felt like I was being poisoned, literally.
Wow.
So, we tried something else and I've been very reluctant to start again. So I asked Betsy today, I was like, what can I do about cholesterol? So she's brought me several things and we're going to talk about it. And Now we're not doctors here, you know, and if your doctor says you need to be on a certain medication, well, you know, you've really got to decide that for yourself. I'm just giving you information that there's always other avenues to try.
Absolutely.
And if it doesn't work, okay, well, then do whatever.
Right.
You know,
and I've always said, you got to go with your gut on that. Literally.
Yeah.
If people are like, you know what, I just feel like I got to do whatever doctor recommended, absolutely, please do it. And I have a lot of friends that are docs. I love medical world. I love I love all of it.
Yeah.
To a certain extent, you know, it just depends on the integrity and morals and values that are going into certain decisions on all levels of all people anyways.
Right.
But it's really up to the person. But if people are looking for other options, then we need to be there to help support them.
Absolutely.
That's the key.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because I think, you know, it might be perfectly like, you know, one of my good friends, I mean, you know, has no problems taking her statins, you know, and has for years, and it's brought her cholesterol down. She's doing great.
Yeah.
You know, it affects all of us are so different. We're like chemical factories, right?
Well, we are. And it's you know, nature versus nurture as well. You know, what has your experiences been? So if you had really bad experiences in childhood, you might not have that strong constitution to fight something. So
that's another interesting place to get to.
Right? Yeah. I mean, it all plays a role.
It does. It all works together, right?
It does. It does. And the idea is, what can we do? What do we have the ability to do? We couldn't do a whole lot when we were 4, and something might have happened to us. Or we went through a terrible situation with a divorce or whatever. What parts of that did we have control over? Maybe a little bit. But right now we do have control over our health and wellness.
Right.
And that's what I've been screaming from the mountaintops a long time, but now, especially now. Because we're in a position where, you know, health freedom is super important. And, you know, we're doing a charity event soon to help support people that are fighting for our freedoms, because I do think people have the right to choose how they want to do their health and how they want to do their optimum wellness. So it's a big deal right now. And I think now more than ever, people are looking for information.
Yes.
And that's what I want to provide.
Right.
And whatever they want to do as far as their decisions, that's up to them.
Well, and that's what this show is about. I mean, I provide, you know, information, and then everybody has to decide for themselves.
Love it.
I do want to go back to, I know you said this was very interesting. And I think I've read before that chronic illness, there's studies of very high incidence of trauma or abuse in the younger years of chronic illness.
Oh, I would say there's no doubt some connection.
Yeah.
No doubt. Yeah. I mean, I've even, you know, Louise Hayes wrote a book called Heal Yourself or Heal Your Life.
Yes, Heal Your Life.
Heal Your Life.
Yeah, I read it like 30 years ago.
Exactly. So I've always been back to that. Louise Hayes, she had a great quote at the beginning of the book. And basically it says, most illness comes from unresolved mental, emotional issues.
Yeah.
And all your physical stuff is coming from something. So I've even had clients that, you know, had ovarian cancer. Well, come to find out they were sexually abused.
Right.
Or an ear infection, come to find out they were screamed at their whole childhood. There's a connection. Or, you know, throat stuff, thyroid stuff, where no one was listening. They were never heard.
I completely know that mine goes back to, you know, I couldn't feel, I couldn't say anything. You know, it was a very abusive situation. You know, I just tried to make myself invisible to survive.
Right.
So, I'm really clear that a lot of that is comes from that. I really do believe that if at some point it's not dealt with in the emotional, it'll land in the body.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
I mean, so, all this is so connected. I mean,
it is. And that's why I say for people, if they don't know how to go through the mental, emotional, like they don't want to go to a counselor and they know they're stagnant and they know they're holding on to something, it's like, do some cleansing this way then. It may be easier for somebody to do a colonic than go to a therapist and talk about their stuff.
You know what? That's true.
It's really true, because they just come in and I start cleansing them.
You know, so listen up, people. So, you know, you're going to get emotional benefits from doing something like this, even though, you know.
Yeah, it's really true.
People do not think that. I mean, I'm going to have to remember to put that in the show notes, because that's a big thing because a lot of people, they don't want to tell that story again.
Right. Or ever. Maybe they've been holding on to stuff and now they don't feel good, or they've gained a ton of weight, or their vision's going. Well, all of that is dis-ease. They're not at ease. So if they don't want to, maybe they're not feeling drawn to do it spiritually, and they're not feeling drawn to go emotionally talk to their friend or, unload on something. Maybe they have no one to go to. So that's
an interesting word, unload.
Unload. Well, because some people feel like they're going to burden somebody.
Yeah.
And this is an easy way to start unloading without putting the burden or feeling like you're putting the burden on another person. It's to start detoxing the body, start cellular debris.
Well, and the other word that comes up to me is like bound.
Oh, bound, yeah.
I mean, how many of us, over the last couple of years have felt bound about some situation in our
Lord
life?
of mercy. I mean, really.
Which, I'm even holding my gut when I say that.
Because everyone's bound. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think right now people want to scream because they've been forced into certain situations. Some people are losing their jobs. Some people are bound by their homes, their family, their friends.
Family, friends.
Everyone's being divided right now. It's disgusting. It's terrible. So now more than ever, start, self-care, self-love, self-cleansing, put in good stuff, eat well, chew your food. It's so important that you provide the nutrients your body needs and then detox what it doesn't need. When I started cleansing in this field of wellness 23 years ago, it was said in the textbooks and all of my studies that the average American had about 10 to 12 pounds of waste in their body. Well, that's 23 years ago. Now, 20 to 25 pounds.
Oh my gosh,
not kidding.
Betsy.
20 pounds of waste just sitting in the body because of the stress. We're not breaking foods down. We got cortisol running throughout the body.
Well, and if we're stressed, it makes sense. We're contracted. We're holding on more. We're, in conflict with other people and ourselves. So it makes sense that things are not just open and moving, and
right.
Our mind's not thinking that way either. If we're in fear or trauma or anything, everything's going to contract. Right?
It's true. Yep, and just get stagnant. I always say it's like doing cleansing is kind of like going to the dentist. It's like you brush your teeth every day, and you go to the dentist to get the plaque and the sludge out.
They do the deep cleaning.
That's right. So for us, it's like irrigation. It's cleansing. It's pulling out the poison, the old plaque.
Okay, I think you're talking me into this.
I mean, we're just going to have to do it.
Oh my gosh.
I think your guest would also recommend.
Yes. Well, not only because, I'd love to lose a few pounds, but also I think I can feel like because I've always been pretty sensitive. I can feel some of the heavy medicine that I had to take hasn't left my body.
Exactly.
Yeah. And whether that's because I'm still processing the whole, because it was scary.
Oh, I can only imagine.
And when it comes to the body, I think, I was talking with my friend about this the other day. When your body fails you in a big way, I don't think you can be more scared.
That's a big deal. It's a big deal.
It's down to, we can be scared of a lot of things.
For sure.
But when the body, well, for me, never really having any sort of, major illness or anything.
Yeah.
When I thought my heart may not work or may stop, I can't tell you I could cry right now telling you.
I can imagine. Oh, no, it
feels almost things. Like, and this is where I know that, like you mentioned, self-care and being gentle and all that, because I felt like my body was betraying me.
Wow. Yeah, and that's something you got to process.
So,
it's something to let go of and process, because you got to, if it was betrayal, it's like, okay, well, I got to forgive that. And what was my body trying to tell me? What was the lesson?
Well, and obviously, it was a broken heart, and right. I had allowed myself to be in situations that were breaking my heart.
Right.
And I wasn't placing boundaries and, all those things.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of clear to me now, and I'm probably grateful that it happened, because not only do I have a new perspective, I have a newfound love for my body, which I don't think I know a lot of people, if you don't have anything to really remind you, you just walk around and forget you even have a body.
Oh my gosh, it's so true.
Until it gets sick.
Well, right. And you don't remember to be grateful that your legs walk and your eyes see.
Yeah.
You forget to be grateful for that you've been given this body and you need to take care of it.
Yeah.
And it's got so much going on. It's so complex. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And the only thing I could relate to is I used to have panic attacks.
Yeah.
And when I first had panic attack, I mean, you're so scared. At one point I called 911 and I was like, you got to come get me and put me in a padded room. I am losing my mind. I'm scared to death. You can't rely on anything. So I do know what you mean. Mm-hmm. It's like you do feel betrayed and you feel helpless. 100% helpless.
Yeah.
Since then, I've learned some stuff like cayenne pepper and capsicum that you should have with you. People feel better having it with them because it's been known to stop a heart attack.
Really?
It's also been known to stop a panic attack. Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I used to keep it by my bedside. When my panic attacks were really rough, I would get a little liquid tincture of capsicum, which is cayenne, and I would literally put a drop under my tongue. It's so strong that I think is so strong that it just pops the panic attack out of your head. It does.
Yeah, it's like putting a stick in the spokes, right?
It literally is. But if you read about it, it'll say they've proven to stop a heart attack.
Well, and we have to look at, except for everything that's synthetic now, I mean, for eons, for millions of years, I mean, healers and our ancestors were using herbs to heal.
Of course. Plant-based medicine.
I mean, I don't know why everybody is, well, I do understand they can be used in if you don't have the education.
For sure.
It's like anything, right?
Well, I agree.
I mean, too much of anything, can mess you up. But if you're educated about it, then by all means, if you're considering doing something other than, just doing something pharmaceutical, then, Betsy and her team is your gang. Gosh, could go, I'm way over time. I could go on and on and on here, but let me see if there's anything else. Can't wait to try my cholesterol stuff.
That is going to be a liver thing. So we're going to do some, cleaning
I know what I
colon.
wanted to ask you too. So I know years and years ago, I had some Eridology done.
Yeah, we do that as well.
So tell me about, really so many organs of the body can tell you things.
Of course.
Because I know in acupuncture, the ear, right, represents the body, right? Or the foot or the hand in reflexology, right?
Exactly.
So tell me about the whole,
Yeah. So Eridology, actually, I used to work at Creative Health, which a lot of people in Greenville probably know Creative Health because Terry Hall was an amazing naturopathic doctor.
I think that's who saw me. And what she said was like, oh my God, you look in my eyes and know that?
Yeah. Oh God, it's amazing. I've been working with Eridologists for, 2.5 decades. And Julia Fuller, who's my master herbalist, she's also an Eridologist. And my naturopathic doctor is as well, a tier. And they can look at the eye, and it's kind of like a roadmap to your body. And I've literally had clients or customers go to them and be like, why'd she know that I broke my leg? And it's so funny. And it shows like stress rings and stuff. So it's just a blueprint. It's
just
never
another
exact.
way to,
Yeah, but it's another idea, is another way to kind of go, well, let's look at this. There looks like to be a deficiency in whatever, the splenic area, the spleen. So let's empower the spleen a little bit and give more nutrients to the spleen. Or it seems to be there's too much acid in certain parts of the body. So it's really just another way to kind of navigate what people need.
I love that because we all, these bodies are magical, and I think we just take it for granted.
They're so complex,
and I guess they're able to give us so much information.
Yeah,
but we are a nation and a world who just thinks that if and we've been taught. If something is wrong, we just go to just give me a pill and and don't get to the root of everything. It is a big business.
Yeah, it just got really big.
So, oh my goodness, I didn't get to everything. You're going to have to come back.
I would love to.
Because
this is awesome. I love helping.
I realized
spread
talking
information.
to you how this goes so much deeper than I thought,
Right, we're not just talking colonics.
No.
Although I love them.
No.
But no, it's really, it's mental, emotional, physical, spiritual. When you really want to get optimal wellness, it's all working together.
Yeah.
And these are avenues that we can use to help do that.
Well, and I mean, people are seeking enlightenment all day long, every day. But if you're
not going to be
full
enlightened,
of crap,
if you're full of it,
it's hard.
You're really not going to get enlightened. Trust me.
It's hard to boost that energy, everybody.
Oh yeah.
So, well, okay. If I can keep you just a few more minutes, these were two questions I really wanted to ask.
Yeah.
And before I get to that, y'all, I mean, her team, they can talk to you about sleep options, inflammation, allergies, cold, so many different things.
Pain. Oh, yeah.
So many different things. So
we really do. The biggest things we get are going to be sleep, stress, weight loss. Going to the bathroom is big. Yeah.
I think everybody is
somewhere in that field, whether it's
maybe it's too much. Maybe they go too much.
Exactly. Oh yeah.
And then you're not absorbing any nutrients anyway, right?
Right. Exactly. And there could be something going on. There could be parasites. There could be some reason why you're running the toilet every time you eat. So we do recommend, kind of getting on a roadmap to help so we can see exactly what it is. Like you said at the beginning, you don't want to just Band-Aid whatever the symptom is. You want to figure out the root cause.
The root cause.
Yeah. So we do wellness consultation, like actual sessions, which are 2 hours. And that is where I love people to start. And that is with Julia.
They really want to get serious about looking at the whole picture.
Yeah. Like where am I and where do I want to go?
Yeah.
So it's 2 hours because it's thorough.
Of course.
We take your urine, check your pH levels, that kind of stuff. And then look at, where are the deficiencies? What kind of vitamins are you taking? What are you not taking enough of? Mm-hmm. What kind of foods are you eating and when are you eating them? So, when I do talks like at, Furman University and other churches and stuff all over, even with the Tony Robbins group and stuff, I would always say, it's good in, bad out. And then it's what you put in and then how you put it in. Because if you just, some people are doing like the intermittent fasting now. Some people are doing just keto or just da-da-da. Right. Oh my gosh. I mean, there's such a plethora. Yeah. And I don't want to get into that ball game because it's just a long field of whatever. But I do think
there is no one size fits all.
God, no.
Because we're all as different as,
everything.
A snowflake.
We really are. That's why it's good to get on your own wellness path.
Yeah.
And if you don't know where to start, one of the first things I tell every single person, and that's why I brought these, enzymes. Enzymes. Take some enzymes. We're all losing enzymes. Mm-hmm. And we just don't have enough anymore because we're so quick. So chew.
And that helps the food break down as well. So it's not just getting stuck.
Inflammation, irritation.
Yeah. Interesting. Oh my God. I could talk to you all day. I do want to say too, being in Betsy's store, being around her team, there's a lot to say for you as a business owner because I know you've got people that have been with you for a long time.
Yeah.
That right there says so much about you, Betsy, as a person, as a business person, as a loving human being on this planet that, wants to educate and help people. But I love your stores. I love your people. And I can't, honestly, y'all know I don't have people on here that I can't recommend. I can't recommend, people getting to see you enough and your team, both stores. Okay, quickly, as you're a woman entrepreneur, you've been around a long time. There's a lot of women, and I've had, for whatever reason, the divine has kind of just brought in a lot of women entrepreneurs lately.
Yeah.
So, what would you say because I think a lot of women are reevaluating their life now and how they want to contribute to the world.
Uh-huh.
What would you say to other women who are wanting to start their business or their passions?
Oh, boy.
Because you've really sustained. You made it through COVID. You've been here a long time. I know there's been, like with
challenges.
Any small business, right?
Yes. It's been challenging. It's not easy, but definitely having the passion for what it is you're going to do, because it's the passion that's going to take you through the hard times.
Yeah.
For owning a business and having so many costs. That is very, very challenging. And then when you have a bunch of employees that have different personalities, that's also hard. And then you've got permits and you have signages and you have social media and you have all this different intricate parts. And there's days where you're like, why am I doing this? I just want to sell sunglasses on the beach somewhere. And I do say that's my plan B. Always.
Yeah. Yes.
That is my plan B.
Yes.
But the thing is, you've got to know what you're doing is making a difference. And I don't, if it is selling bracelets, you better believe in those bracelets.
Yes.
Because every day I know I'm making a difference to thousands and thousands of people. And that's what keeps me going. I get texts and emails and calls that just say thank you. My son is no longer struggling with ADD, or my mom's dementia has slowed down. So it to me is, I have no other choice but to keep going.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. I love it. And thank you for what you're giving to our community and the world, and helping so many people get through, COVID and on. We're still continuing this. I could go on and on, but we probably better close up shop for now. Please tell me you'll come back.
I would love to.
I want to go.
This is right.
Why don't you come back after I do a colonic?
Let's do it.
And I can tell everybody my experience.
I think I would love that.
Because I know there's there's a bunch of y'all out there like me that are, scared for whatever reason. There's probably some mental thing in there about that too.
Well, letting go.
Yeah.
You got to let go.
I got to let go.
Not everybody wants to let go. That was my problem. That's why I do this, is because I never wanted to let go. Yes. I was like, I got a big story of hardships and all that. And so, letting go is hard. And for those of you, and I don't usually speak about it, I don't think I ever have live, but if there are people, and it's kind of weird for me to even say it, I didn't think I'd go there, but if there are people that have gone through like rape or molestation, or someone's committed suicide, I tend to relate to all of those. It's important to be able to learn how to let go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do believe that, because I do believe the body holds on.
Yeah.
It's interesting how it kind of locks in different places.
It does.
So
yeah.
Well, that's another conversation too, but you'll have to come back plenty.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. And were we going to have a discount for our listeners and watchers?
Was it Golden
10?
Golden 10.
Golden 10, and we'll put that in the show notes. And you can find Betsy and her staff at pureonmain.com, and Instagram.
Instagram's Pure on Main. I think it's pure_on_Main, and Facebook Pure on Main, and then obviously Pure Wellness Spa will take you to the same section.
Right.
So Pure on Main and Pure Wellness Spa brings you to the same place.
pureonmain.com, and don't forget she has she has an office downtown on Main Street, where she's been there for many, many years, and now has a new location in
Greer on Cannon Street.
In Greer. So y'all be sure, follow Betsy, keep up with her. I mean, they're all the time. You heard tonight what she's doing. She and her staff are doing more research for us. Mm-hmm. So thank you for joining us. And I always sign off. With Kylie Odetta.
No.
Beautiful songbird here in Greenville. You got to listen.
Oh, I think I know her name.
Yeah. Well, my theme song is one of her songs. And it's called I'm Still Here. And so I always sign off because I'm still here. Yay! We're all still here. Yeah. So let's all make sure that we cleanse and not just put it in, but let's let it go. And thank you so much, Betsy. I love you.
It's an honor. Thank you so much.
See y'all next time.